The season's done, but we're not. We're here for the View from the Ninian season review, where we get to look back at all the misplaced hope, optimism, and joy that we had at the start of the season and show you that we really don't know anything about football. We're just here to talk about it week to week because we have nothing better to do. We're all wearing Homer, as Tom Phillips insists that it's called. But Ben Price, Tom Phillips are here joining me as always. Ben, I'll come to you first. What do you make of Tom's tash?
It's a luck, isn't it? It's certainly a luck.
Tom, why are you trying to be me?
Well, I don't want to be me. So you're the nearest person to me most weeks, so I wasn't being very imaginative.
Yeah, I suppose so. Is the tash sticking around?
No, I don't think so. I think the first test was this weekend where I've got a wedding coming up and it's dawned on me I might be in some photos. So I don't really want this to be my legacy. So I think it may disappear.
Also, I just want to question. He's the nearest person to you.
I like screen, I don't mean digitally. I'm not like lurking in his cupboard for the last 8 months.
How far away is your wife keeping from you with that tash if Ben's the nearest person to you, the closest person to you right now?
Yeah, no comment.
Right, we're just going to look back on the season. Season's done. Cardiff City got relegated. Everybody knows that. We don't need to reiterate the point. We did some predictions at the start of the season. We'll look back at those. We'll also kind of take a blow-by-blow account of the season and where it all went wrong. Frankly, everywhere was where it went wrong. So, Ben, let's roll this all the way back to the start. We were a bit excited in the summer. Obviously, there were transfers. We rehired Errol Bullitt. We all thought things were going to look good for the season. Were we idiots?
I tell you what. So, preparation for this, making a bunch of notes and looking over bits. I listened back to our season preview.
Oh my god!
I
couldn't bring myself to do it. I thought about doing it. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
The optimism, the hope in our eyes, everything about it. I mean, it's gone so badly. Tom's had a breakdown and lost about 16 stone.
Yeah, I've grown a mustache.
Yeah, the hope, and so I almost pity those lads. Listening to them, so excited about what's to come. Really looking forward to go. Look, we bought well. We got reason to be excited. Bullett's the man to take us forward. We know nothing.
Well, I think we know a bit more than nothing, but not much. I would give us some credit
later to prove it.
I know you got stats there to prove it, but Tom, do you agree that we know nothing, or do you disagree that we know nothing?
Oh, I've always known I've known nothing. But to be honest, I don't think our optimism was misplaced. I think there was a reason for it, and we weren't the only ones. I think there was a lot of people within Cardiff circles who were optimistic. Most people outside of the Cardiff circle thought we were all being mad, and they were right. But it did feel like we bought well. It did feel like we were building something with Bullitt. So we'll wait till we go through the predictions, and then I'll slowly lose faith in that argument, but we'll see.
Let's talk about the transfer window, Ben. Obviously, we say we bought well. The players that came in, people like Callum Chambers, Chris Willock, came with quite a high salary. Some of the players who came in are no longer with us. They've moved on to a better place, Croatia. I believe Wilfred Kanga's currently playing in. To an extent, we bought good players, but were they right players, wrong time? Were they the wrong players for what we were trying to build?
I can't work it out, and it's not great for a podcast. But I genuinely can't. I genuinely look back and go, "We're really excited. It seemed to all make sense then. How has it gone so badly wrong?" I mean, you look at it going, right, those players coming in. I was blinded by Kanga's YouTube. Oh my god!
Oh, we all were.
No one was excited as me for it. I'll say that now. It went badly for me. That. But look, just looking at it all, I'm sort of thinking like these players have come in, they made sense. They're bringing pace. They didn't bring pace. We're bringing goals in. We didn't bring goals in. We're shoring up a bit of a leaky defence. That definitely didn't happen.
Got worse.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly can't tell you, is it the players? But the more, it seems to happen to us more than anything. So I think it might be a Cardiff thing, not a player thing. I think it's everyone.
I think it's the kind of thing. I think we don't get anything right ever. YouTube.com/VFT Ninian. If you're watching there, like and subscribe. I'm getting that in early for once because Ben just reminded me that we're filming on YouTube and more people are watching on YouTube month to month. So I've got to get that in. If you are watching, please like and subscribe to the channel. Tom, looking back at our January transfer window, again, I'm not saying that this is the right thing to do, but even when we sold players, we sold Mark McGuinness in the summer for an absolutely ridiculous fee. And we reinvested that money in players like Will Fish and Jesper Darland. It felt like we were doing the right thing, even with the transfer business we were doing ourselves, didn't it?
Yeah, it felt like we were selling a player for money that we could reinvest, and we bringing in people into position who are going to be hopefully of similar ability. And yeah, it just felt for once that we were doing sensible things.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like we've been punished for doing sensible things. Like we brought in players, there was a mix of a couple we didn't really know, but they looked like exciting prospects. A couple of names that we did know and thought, look, if they kick on, we could create something here. But just none of it materialized. Like Willock, I was really excited for. Chambers, like that should be a good signing. That isn't a player you expect to be in a relegation battle, finishing bottom of the table. You're thinking that's someone who can spur you on. And it just didn't materialize. Kanga, a bit of an unknown. I didn't watch the YouTube highlights. I wish I had now. I wish I'd been as excited as Ben about his best bits. But yeah, I don't know. That one, I still feel like we might have just destroyed a player. A bit like Ben says, when people come in, something seems to go wrong here at Cardiff. Someone in the environment that takes the remaining ability out of these players. Because these aren't bad footballers, but in the system and the squad that we've had this year, it just didn't work at any point.
No, I mean, there's almost like a revolving doors moment with Kanga, isn't there, Ben? Where he has that kind of disallowed goal at Burnley. Yes, he probably was offside. Thinking back to it, he was probably a yard offside. But if that goal goes in, you think confidence could have kicked on. It all could have been so different, couldn't it, for Wilfried Kanga? The answer is probably no. But you say what you're going to say, Ben.
I think, yeah, possibly. You look, there's so many strikers we've got that if they score in that first big game, that we feel like they can kick on and do well. Like, think back like Fred Godongbe when he missed Birmingham. Like, in my head, that ruined him. That just killed him there. It's not the fact he was a terrible player. Same with Kanga. If that goal doesn't get disallowed, and he was offside, there's no doubt about it.
He was offside.
Yeah, but if that gets allowed, if it was, say, the linesman from the Leyton Orient game on the weekend...
Oh my God, yeah.
Fair play to him. Kanga could be, top scorer right now, and we could be getting battered by someone in the playoffs. Who knows? But instead, it sort of didn't happen, and from then, he just sort of crumbled. And yeah, even then, you should look at his record now. He's only scored 3 goals in 14 for Zagreb. It's not
better.
It is an improvement.
3 more goals that he scored for us in the same amount of games.
But you look at like someone like Salek scoring early on. So he had that first big chance, really his first big chance he scored, and kicked on and became possibly one of the best players of the season.
Striker we've ever seen.
Yeah, and I still stand by that, even though I thought it might have been Kanga at the start. I was just 6 months too early.
Wilfried Kanga, we really miss you. We don't. Let's talk about the opening sort of 7 games, Tom. Obviously, it was 7 games until Errol Bullock got sacked. There was nothing good in that run, was there, apart from the Swansea game? And that was the only, a draw at the Vetchfield as a glimmer of hope. It's not the most auspicious of starts of the season, is it?
No, even that game was just a good end. Like we were really,
17
really
minutes,
poor,
really, wasn't it?
Yeah, we were really, really poor first half. But I think that's obviously it got disappointing under Reza. Well, that's an understatement. But I think the most disappointment thing was the fact we didn't kick on under Bullet.
Yeah.
Because I think that one of the things we were really excited about was this continuity, the consistency. We've got a manager there for the summer. We're building something. They felt like there was more to come from the season before. Like we finished 12th, but we really hadn't hit the heights that we thought we could with that squad. We hadn't hit that ceiling. And it just started so badly. And it got worse. And it wasn't just what was happening on the field. There was like this toxicity off it. Yeah. He didn't look happy in any press conference. And it was clear that something had gone wrong. And it was at that point you're thinking, all right, okay, we may need to change our predictions here and our hopes for the season. Well, I didn't anyway. I definitely didn't change my hopes for the season because I'm an idiot. But like, it just felt like such a missed opportunity for once we felt stable, and that stability disappeared within 2 or 3 games. And yeah, madness really.
Yeah, this is what I keep coming back to, Ben, is when we talk about, were we wrong to be excited at the start of the season? Were we wrong? Were we right to have this optimism about going into the season? As Tom says, for the first time, we had done what felt like the right thing over the summer, which was stick with a manager who had, the football wasn't great last season. I think everyone can recognize that. There were times last season where we were playing absolutely garbage football and it was very attritional just to get through games. But he had one hand tied behind his back with the transfer kind of embargo when he came in. He had a January window that felt like he was given sort of third or fourth choice players in terms of people like Jeju on loan when we obviously needed a big striker, someone, as mentioned at the time, was Kiefer Moore. So it felt like we'd done the right thing. But even then, Ben, it went tits up.
Yeah, and you look at it pre-season, unbeaten in pre-season, scoring goals. Like everything about it leaned into, oh, this could be a special one. This could be something fun. Anniversary, wicked kit, everything about it. They're going, hey, we're on for this. This could be fun, this one. It's about time. We've had a rough time, but we've come through that. Let's enjoy it and let's really get optimistic and really get caught up in the fever. 2-0 loss to Sunderland. 5-0 loss to Burnley, a 2-0 loss to Borough, and then the Derby game as well. Just all from there on, it was sort of like, we might have got this wrong. The bookies might be more right than we are on this one. It's just weird. Something changed, and I still don't know what. Because normally when these things happen, you sort of hear what's gone on and stuff like that. But everyone's remained quite tight-lipped behind the scenes of what's gone on. There's little rumours about this and that, but nothing's ever really been confirmed. But the mood changed drastically, sort of towards the end of that sort of pre-season window where the games were going on. The players didn't look as sharp, and it just went off a cliff so quickly.
I remember going to watch us playing pre-season against Bristol Rovers, and I think I said at the time, we were playing a completely different system than I'd ever seen us play before. Our centre-backs were pushing out wide, our midfielders were coming back to collect the ball from the goalkeeper, and we were pushing out from the back. And then the first couple of games of the season, that went completely out the window. And I know we were playing Sunderland at home. That should have been the ideal time to kind of continue playing like that. Burnley away, you're not going to do it. But we seem to lose faith in what we've been practicing over the summer. And I wonder, there's lots of kind of things that probably went on in the summer. One is potentially the Rocco Simic signing that Bullet never wanted, if you believe some of the rumours. And Tom, the other thing, was it potentially Ryan Wintle being loaned out to destabilise some of the other players in the club? You know how close he was potentially with people like NG and Tanner, and NG hasn't looked right all season. Could that have been the thing that destabilised him going into the season?
Possibly. I think that's a bit of like kind of retrospective, kind of like hindsight, kind of trying to find something. I'm not sure. Like stuff like that happens all the time. Players get put out on loan. It wasn't the first time Wintle had gone out on loan either. I think, I don't know, he seems like a character who some people love, some people really don't get on with from the outside looking in. So I'm not sure, possibly. But in reality, it's probably just bullets falling out with Vincent Tan and Dalman and not getting his way, I'm assuming. And I think that just destables it then. You go into it thinking, look, I can't put my own stamp on this team. Look, I've shored up this squad, like you said earlier on, under an embargo, some real tough conditions, and I haven't been backed. And if you're going into the season feeling like that, then I suppose you're starting from rocky foundations. But like you read the run out there, that's a stinking run to the season. It's not just losing games, it's not scoring as well. And I know looking back at the fixtures, they're tough teams that we played, but it's hard to recover from that. And I remember at the time, it wasn't just like the board and stuff who wanted to get rid of Bullet. The fans had turned on it as well because it was pretty
100%.
drab.
Yeah.
Like it was the best time to go. It was just a pity it got to that point so early in the season.
Yeah, in a season that promised so much, that was exactly it. Then let's talk about Omar Reza. Obviously, Reza got, as we expected, given the job on an interim basis. The kind of saga rumbled on and on and on. Obviously, he lost his first game to Hull, but he scored only our second goal of the season in that game with Callum Robinson getting the goal. But then we went on that incredible run, really. 6 games, 4 wins, 2 draws. We drew with teams like Bristol, West Brom, beat Norwich, beat Portsmouth, beat Plymouth, beat Millwall. It just felt like that was the time to give him the job, wasn't it?
Yeah, it felt like it. Literally, the Norwich game, wasn't it? It sort of got to the Norwich game on that run, picked up a nice win there, sort of looking up at the
2
dizzying
late
height.
goals.
Yeah, the dizzying heights of, what was it, 17th at that point?
That was our highest point of the season, was when we beat Norwich, and we reached 17th in the table.
That's insane.
Positively mid-table.
Yeah, and you're there going, right, now's the time to do it. I think the players were calling for it at that point. Like O'Dowda came out and said they'd really like him to get it. And they just dragged it on. They just kept kicking the can down the road just a little bit further, not making decisions. And sort of that lack of decisiveness must have been what cost us in the summer transfer window as well, and must have frustrated Bullet at that point, because it seemed like a theme all season of the higher ups just afraid to make a decision or not willing to make the decision, as if they don't care enough to make that decision. And yeah, it's just crazy. You look at that from there on out, sort of how the season turned. That Norwich was literally the peak, and it's the 2nd of November. From then, it was, other than the Swansea game, nothing but a downward spiral, and we end up where we were. But how they didn't make a decision there, and surely if you're doing that Norwich game and you're coming away from that going, oh, we're still not sure. I have no idea what they looked at for the next few results and thought, yeah, right, now's the time to appoint him, when we went on a stinking run without picking up a win.
Yeah, Tom, the next 9 games, I think it was 9 games without a win. We lost to Luton, we lost to Blackburn, we lost to QPR, we lost to Preston, lost to Sheffield United and Oxford. We also drew with Stoke, Coventry and Sheffield Wednesday. That kind of sums up our season, doesn't it? That kind of 9-game spell where we lost to a relegation rival in Luton, a relegation rival in Preston, a relegation rival in Oxford, couldn't get a win over Stoke, a relegation rival, couldn't get a win over Coventry, who at that point were near us in the table and just about to kick on, and obviously couldn't get a win over Sheffield Wednesday. And then they gave him the job in the midst of that run. It kind of sums up everything about Cardiff City, doesn't it, Tom?
Yeah, it's madness. Like, you were reading that off, and the first thing that was coming to my head was, not a good team, not a good team, not a good team. And like, we were unlucky in some of them, like the Coventry game, late goal and stuff like that. But like, we didn't deserve any luck at that point because we were just playing badly. And yeah, like the fact that we never got higher than 17th in what was an extremely poor championship season outside like the top 4, maybe top 3, to be honest, by the end of the season. Yeah, like it's just insane. It shows how bad we really were. But yeah, we were. If you listen back to the podcasts throughout the year, which I won't be doing because I'm not a madman like Ben Price.
If you're listening at home, please do.
Oh yeah, sorry. Great listen. But like, I think there would be times where we thought that Reza was the Messiah, and I get that after that run of results, like the at the beginning. But then that 9 games was dross. And yes, we want continuity in the squad. We want a bit of consistency and stuff. But the consistency we wanted by the end of that wasn't giving Reza the job, because it had turned. We'd missed the honeymoon period. We missed the wave that we could have ride for a little bit, but we just didn't do it. And by that point, it just took all the air out of the season. And yeah, there's some of the decision off the field. Like, there's plenty of bad on the field decisions this year. But some of the off-the-field decisions have been absolutely mad.
Yeah, after that Oxford game, Ben, it felt like all the world there was only going to be one decision made, and that was Reza getting sacked. Obviously, it didn't happen. And then we managed to go about 7 or 8 games unbeaten, just because that's the kind of season we had. We beat Watford. We drew with Coventry. We drew with Middlesbrough away, which was quite a big result at that point. Drew with Watford at home. Beat Swansea, drew with Millwall, beat Derby at home, which obviously felt like a big win at the time. But Ben, it felt like after the Oxford game, he had to go, didn't it?
Yeah, he was a dead man walking at that point. Everyone was accepted he wasn't the right guy at that point. The sort of hype and the belief around it, the players clearly lost the belief there. It had all died off. And how he kept his job after the Oxford game as well, because the performance was embarrassing. Yeah. It was just one of the most infuriating, boxing. Like, our record on Boxing Day isn't the best most of the time anyway, but performance-wise, it was shambolic. Oxford at the time, really, really struggling as well. Played us at the perfect time. Yeah, the fact then he was still interim then, wasn't he? No,
I think he was given the job sort of December the 5th. I can't remember the exact date.
Yeah, he'd not long been made
time.
permanent manager.
Yeah,
but it was already obvious that he was not the right man. He had to go at that point. And to go from that to sort of like you think about the unexpected win at Watford, it's just such extremes, isn't it? Of the season of sort of you're convinced he needed to be sacked. It was convinced a change here will be all right. And we never did anything. And we sort of put runs together, but never pulled ourselves away from that trouble. And then it's such a weird season looking back at it. Everything, just looking at the results, how it would go from like a really high of like beating Swansea 3-0 and then picking up 4 points in the following couple of games to a 7-0 drubbing against Leeds. And that's when the wheels really came off then. It was sort of the any momentum hit a brick wall there.
I will say that Watford game where we won 2-1 was exactly what it was, like the perfect performance. We started the game really early, scored within a minute. Watford got a goal back, I think, around 40 minutes in, and then we scored immediately to make it 2-1. It's like, why can't we do this every week? Like, this is so easy. And we made Watford look like mugs. And at that point, they were kind of knocking on the door of the playoffs. If you look on Wikipedia, obviously it lists out the managers. So Errol Bullitt was manager until the 22nd of September. Omar Reza, interim, 22nd of September to the 5th of December. Omar Reza, permanent from the 5th of December to the 19th of April. Then Aaron Ramsey, interim from the 19th of April. We go back to January, Tom. Obviously, Ben kind of alluded to it then, but we have to talk about the Swansea game. It was probably moment of the season. Obviously, it was in the middle of that decent run where Bullitt was putting together draws. Bullitt Reza was putting together draws. It obviously came off the back of a very emotional week for Omar Reza. Very well publicised, obviously, that his father passed away. And it just, that almost felt like a galvanising moment for him and the team, didn't it, that Swansea game? Because no matter what, Swansea fans might listen to say, well, we got relegated and that was, one win out of all that. It was, but it was a fucking good win, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brilliant. And it was a comfortable one. We scored goals, didn't concede. And it felt like it came at the right time. And like you said, it should have been a galvanising time for us to kick on throughout the season. But this season was littered with moments where things were going horrendously bad, but then we showed a glimmer of hope, enough to probably keep Reza in a job, and then it would go back down again. Yeah. And this was like the peak of that, really. And like speaking on alternative Wales, like it might have been the worst thing that could have happened to us in like the longevity of the season. Like if we'd lost that Swansea game, he would have gone, something would have changed. And yes, it was a fantastic moment. But in terms of us staying up, it probably could have been the worst thing that happened to us in that way. But like, I've got the program from that game, the team sheet here. And I'm like, there's a picture of me in the program from that game. I want to put it up in a frame. I'm not putting that up in a fucking frame now. We got relegated. It's ruined it for me. But, but it's just like, we've been crying out for that performance against Swansea. We haven't done that in so long. And it felt like if we got that missing piece, we actually turned up in a derby, then why can't we turn up for other games in the rest of the season and kind of like get up for it? It just never happened. And it was such a high moment. Like, I remember how giddy we all were. The whole fan base were giddy, and it felt like something we could kick on from. And it just never came. Just even the goals. Like the Gutas header, man.
Yeah.
Ridiculous. What a ridiculous header.
And it just felt like, okay, some of this stuff is coming back to us. We're scoring from set pieces again. We're defending well. We're showing up again in people's faces. And I felt like, oh, yeah, come on. You've galvanised the fans here. And just the air came out of the balloon again.
I feel what's really weird is
the
Gutas situation, but there's the before or with Siopis and after Siopis.
Yeah,
the results are mad. So Siopis left on the 31st of January to Panathinaikos, undisclosed fee. After that,
we've won twice.
2 wins again, and they were in February against Portsmouth and Hull.
We did beat Portsmouth. We beat
Hull.
We beat Blackburn. We beat Blackburn. Blackburn in March.
Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Yeah, we lost 2-1 to Portsmouth.
Looking at last season's.
Yeah. I'm looking at the wrong bit. Yeah.
But like, I watched the highlights back, doing prep and all that kind of stuff. I forgot Siopis was still with us at that point. And it is ridiculous, really, that we were talking about it against. I think it was against Norwich on the last day of the season. It's just like Siopis just gave us something that no one else does, and that's he runs around and gets in people's faces. He might not be the best on the ball, he might not be the best footballer, he might not pick a pass, but he runs around and he gets in people's faces and he causes them to lose the ball and he agitates them. Like the rest of the players we've had in the midfield since then, they're so apathetic about doing stuff like that. They don't want to chase, they don't want to do the basics, and I think that's what we've missed, and that Swansea game felt like. As we talked about then, like Guta scored that header. There was a bit of kind of handbags at the end of the game where our players gave as good as, if not better than their players. It kind of felt like we'd made them shirk a little bit during that game, which is something they never really do. And it felt like that was the moment to kick on. But that was probably the last really good moment of the season, wasn't it, Tom?
Yeah. Yeah, like I think like even when we beat like Blackburn and stuff later in the season, it felt like we did it by accident. It wasn't like just from that moment on, like from the highs of waving corner flags in front of the Swansea fans and stuff like that. That all looks fucking ridiculous now, doesn't it? When you look back at it, but it just never got going from that point on. I think we were always holding on to that hope that we'd come good, we'd get enough results, and until really, really late in the season, I thought we would come good, like good enough. Sorry, not good, but enough to pull us out of that mess. But we never really did it. I think probably the Hull win was a decent-ish performance where they didn't turn up and we did a little bit, just enough to beat them at home. But after that, rubbish. Like between then and the season, end of the season, it was absolute rubbish. We never deserved to be pulled out of that mess. I think that's the hardest thing to take this year, and why we're not quite as disappointed as we would be. I wasn't as disappointed getting relegated this year as I was when we got relegated from the Premier League, even though we expected to be relegated from the Premier League. Because at no point in the season do we deserve to be anywhere away from that mess.
Yeah. From the 31st if you look at January, how many points do you reckon we got?
I know this because I have it open on my screen.
From when? Sorry.
From when? We'll stick with Siopis as like the bit from Siopis leaving on the 31st of Jan.
Before Siopis and after Siopis.
Yeah.
Oh, God knows. 11?
13.
Oh God. Okay, yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
If you look at the transfer market tracker of our position during the season, we didn't drop into the relegation zone. You know, we were out of the relegation zone from our 1-1 draw with Middlesbrough until we beat Blackburn on match day 38. And then after we beat Blackburn, we dropped into it the following game when we drew 1-0 with Sheffield Wednesday. Then we drew 0-0 with QPR. We drew with Preston and we lost to Stoke, and that was it. And it's quite weird that even then we were still not losing those games. We just weren't doing anywhere near enough to get the points to get us out of the danger. And Ben, that's the story of the season, isn't it? We can keep coming back to all these nice moments, the kind of whatever we can pin our blame on. But we weren't good enough over the season, and we lost points from winning positions almost weekly.
Yeah, it happened far too often, and we just weren't clinical enough. We didn't have that edge about us to finish games off. The amount of times we take the lead and sort of just balls it up and look horrific while doing it, or even worse, start terribly and spend the rest of the game chasing our tail, trying to make up for the mistakes we made. It was telling, wasn't it? It was as soon as we went back in that relegation zone, we never really climbed out of it. That Luton game, after that Luton game, it was done, and it was done and dusted. Then I felt it. I said it on the time. I don't see us getting back out of it, and we never did.
We weren't in a relegation zone after the Luton game, so we took another game after that.
Oh, sorry, the game after that. Then it was when I, sort of exactly. But it just summed up the players. They just didn't have. You could just tell none of these players had the bottle to get us out of it. It was just a squad that had no belief in it so early on, and we got exactly what we deserved. 13 points from February. Mental.
Yeah. I mean, and even then, it took us until 3 games left of the season to sack Omar Reza. And I know, Omar Reza gets a lot of stick, and some of it is well-deserved. But as we've said, Tom, he's the symptom of this football club, isn't he? He should never have really been put in that position and put under the pressure he was put under, because we have no succession plan. We have no way of managing this football club beyond let's just see who's here and will do the job. And as much as Omar Reza there were so many moments under Omar Reason. We'll talk about them when we get to the Twitter comments, that we were kind of like, oh, that's probably it, or he's clearly not good enough. But I still don't blame him fully. I still blame the hierarchy more.
Yeah, you can't fault Reese's effort. He threw himself into it, right? It's just exactly like you said, he should never have been put in that position. And that man will not get a job anywhere near this level again. And I don't think he'd want. He probably would want it, to be fair.
No, he would.
But like, yeah, he's got his own. He's got a certain confidence about him. There's no doubt about that. Misplaced, but he's got it. But like, he won't get anywhere near a championship level job now. And we keep putting managers in that situation. And like, even at the end of the season, when we've got Aaron Ramsey coming in, it's just everything's just like these spur of the moment decisions that we hope this works. Like, they've caught Chris Gunter coming back with his bowl of pasta from lunch, and they've asked him if he wants to be manager, like in the Vale.
Yeah,
like, and that's as far as our kind of like our expertise goes in the club. Yeah, it's like, oh, he could probably do it. And you look at it, it's just we keep bringing in like under 21s managers and assistant managers, or anyone who's already got a tracksuit, so you don't have to order a new one. And it just doesn't work as a long-term plan. And that's why Bullet is the most, I think, like, disappointing thing out of this. It felt different. It felt like we'd gone out there and got something. It felt like it was working, and it just didn't work. And yeah, I do feel sorry for Reese, because I think it'll have a real long-term effect on him, because it wasn't a nice time for him. Like, obviously the personal stuff off the field as well. And then just the way it ended as well. Like, everyone wanted him to do well. It wasn't one of those appointments where we turned at him from the beginning. At the beginning of it, we genuinely thought this could accidentally be a good thing, but it just got worse and worse and worse. And then the relationship between him and the fans was pretty toxic by the end of it.
Not one of us tweeted the Bristol City game that this is why he'll never be a manager. None of us tweeted that. I didn't tweet that. I certainly didn't tweet that. Ben,
but the warning signs were there for that. You spot, like, bringing that up. The warning signs were there.
He shit himself on 65 minutes.
Yeah, he cost us that game. Like, that result is like, it sums up his management to a T. It's panic, change everything, then make subs correcting the changes you already made. Yeah. And it was just, it's the perfect example at the Bristol City game. Like I said, lovely bloke. No one really wanted him to do badly. And clearly, like, he put his all into the job, but he just should not have been in that position, should he? It's just mental that he lasted till April.
It is quite mentally lasted till April. Right, let's talk about, we know, I'm not going to ask you what your biggest disappointment was. Let's talk about what your favourite moments were, apart from, obviously, the Swansea game. Ben, what was your favourite moment of the season?
It was just...
Anything good?
It's going to sound really weird, but it was that clearly false optimism before kickoff at the Sunderland game. Like, it was a nice day. It was like just in the stadium, ready, the sort of opening day of the season, new kit, players about. You're going, oh, this could be it.
Ramsey was fit.
Ramsey was there, sort of everything. You bunch of new signs that I was excited to see. I sat on my old season ticket seat and I saw the bloke who used to sit next to me, Jamie. That was really nice. Sort of shook hands with him, said hello, it's been a while. It was just really nice. And it went downhill from there. But that moment was still one of my favourite moments of the season. Just that little bit of hope and optimism that this club has so brilliantly crushed.
Tom, what was your favourite moment of the season?
I think like the Plymouth and Portsmouth games at home, where it felt like we put a performance together, we scored goals against teams who were in and around us in the league. And at that moment, it felt like we did have enough to kind of move us out of it. I think, like Ben's right, the beginning of the season is definitely the highlight when you go into it with the optimism. But I think those are the games where it felt like there's something here and we'll get through to it. And it just never came. I think the Watford game, like you said, that was a brilliant performance away from home. But it is really hard to kind of pinpoint moments in the season. Like, normally you'd look at a season and go, there's a few to pick from, right? You get different answers from different fans. But the answers would be the Swansea game. That's it, really. Like, there wasn't any extreme highs apart from that. And that's the most disappointment thing. You go to football to enjoy yourself, right? Even when you get relegated, normally there's moments where you go, that was fantastic, but we've got less than a handful this season.
Oh, Villa away as well.
Villa away was good.
But that's a glorified loss. Yeah, I suppose it's a nice moment, though. That's true. But...
And like Dylan Lawler played quite well. I think apart from the obvious Swansea game, I think Watford away, I think Blackburn away, 2 away wins all season. And it felt like both of them were like, okay, we can kick on from here. Like the Blackburn, when we won that game at that time, it was like, this is the moment we kick on from. And then it wasn't, obviously. But like, Yaku scoring that goal, it was like the 80th minute, I think he put the header in. It just felt, and also obviously they got a penalty overturned late on. And it just felt like our luck was turning at that point. But it didn't. And our souls were crushed. And that's football, guys. I was just having a look on FOTMob before we came on. We'll get to Twitter shortly. I was having a look at some of the stats. We had 904 touches in the opposition team's box all season.
Is that bad? That's a stat that means fuck all to me.
That sounds bad. All season,
Leeds were top with 1,400. So we were 500 below.
Leeds had that in the game against us.
Yeah. But we finished ahead of Oxford, Plymouth, Swansea, Preston, Portsmouth, Stoke, QPR. And that just shows that even when we were getting in the box, we were completely ineffective for most of the season. While other teams were having less touches and more joy, shall we say. Accurate passes per match around 293, which feels quite high for us. Shots on target per match, we were actually 6th in the league for. 4.2 shots per match. So in comparison to Leeds finished top with 5.7. So that's ridiculous. Big chances missed. We only missed 40 big chances compared to Coventry's 84. So obviously it's bad because they missed 84, but we didn't make anywhere near as many chances as them to miss. We had 222 corners across the season. So this is the thing, right? We only made 61 big chances all season, according to FOTMob. We missed 40 of them.
Oh. I was going to slag you off for like stupid stats here that we don't need to hear them, but that one, that is an eye opener. Yeah.
And the final one, where is it? Our XG across the season was 47.4, puts us in 20th. So we only expected to score 47 goals per season. To put that in perspective, Leeds 91.6, so it's almost double. That's Leeds at the top. But successful tackles 11.2, so swings and roundabouts really. That puts us in 5th for successful tackles. Let's go to Twitter, twitter.com/VFT Ninian. I asked for just some nice stuff, like your favourite players, player of the season, signing of the season, biggest disappointment, moment of the season, and best Reeser-ism of the year. Dan Tight, he says, biggest disappointment, announcing Star of Preyman on the bar menu for it to be 0%. Moment of the season, aside from the obvious, the Norwich comeback, late goals from Cal ×2 for a 6-game unbeaten streak under Reeser when it all felt vibey. Thomas Taylor, player of the season, Rinamotta, signing of the season, Salic, biggest disappointment, throwing it away at Ashton Gate. Moment of the season, Gutas header against the Jacks. Best Reeserism, him following me back on Instagram. I'll always remember Aston Villa, Ben, obviously, leaving the pub about 6. Requested to follow him on Instagram then. By the time I got to the ground, he'd accepted my follow request, which goes to show where his priorities were.
Honestly, when he said about following him back, I imagine that was before kickoff as well. Everyone else trying to get stuff together, and he's just on Instagram.
Going through it, doing his social media admin.
Just fucking mad. That was wild. And it wasn't a one-off either, because there was other people who he wasn't weren't following him, that we got them to do it. And before the game had kicked off, he had followed them back. Accepted the follow, sorry.
Player of the season, Josh Watson. Player of the season, Reno. Signing of the season, Salic. Biggest disappointment the season. Moment of the season, victory against Swansea Town. Best Reeserism, his selfies. Woven Yellow Army. Player of the season, not applicable. Signing of the season, Salic. Biggest disappointment, Ramsey signing turning out to be a waste of time. Moment of the season when we finally sacked Errol Bullock. Best Reeserism, believing flying over to Malaysia to talk to Tan would achieve anything. The Raspin Dog, benefactor, player of the season, O'Dowda, signing of the season, Salic. Biggest disappointment, Ruben, great potential, Colwell. Moment of the season, O'Dowda's last minute winner against Norwich. And the best Reeserism, clueless fans, and he's put the bell end emoji there. Tom, Salic getting a lot of love. I mean, he was one of the high points of the season, wasn't he?
Yeah, and what a waste for him to kind of, do you know what I mean? Like, we've been crying out for a striker, and it's come at the time where it's been completely wasted on us. But the likelihood is, right, we're not going to see him again in a Cardiff shirt, and it's such a pity because he's such a talent, and it feels like we've actually done some good scouting work there. We brought in someone like from the Swedish second division, and he's come in and he's absolutely kicked on. And I love the bloke. Like from minute one, he's got a Swansea player on the neck, and you're thinking,
three of them,
this is a bloke. Yeah, and this is what you want. And he scored some really important goals, and he comes across like a nice bloke as well. And you're thinking, what a waste on us this season to have him coming in. But yeah, it's by far the best signing. It's not even close, is it?
He's the perfect Cardiff player at the wrong time, isn't he?
Yeah,
it's
exactly that.
Mental.
If we'd signed him last January, we might have got the playoffs. When you think about it, because there was a run towards April under Bullet where it was like, okay, playoffs could be a thing. And it felt like we just needed another couple of goals in key games and it could have happened. Instead, he couldn't keep us up. Ryan March, player of the season, O'Dowda, signing of the season, Salek. Basically, signing of the season, I won't say because everyone has gone for Salek. So if I say something different, just accept that everyone's gone for Salek. Biggest disappointment, Errol Bullet. Moment of the season, the whole Swansea home game. Best Reza is in the hashtags. So David Carter, player of the season, Callum O'Dowda, signing of the season, Salek. Disappointment, Ramsey always injured. Moment, Robinson second against Swansea. Reza-ism too many. Tom Lang, player of the season, Reno, signing of the season, we know. Disappointment, say it every season, sadly, Colwell. Moment of the season, was there a moment? Gun to my head, probably Robbo second against Swansea. I'm not putting a gun to your head. Best Reza-ism, the constant modelling of the shit the club shop is flogging this season. Phil Weston, he's only responded to the Reza-ism, apologising to the fans because he had been given the job. Oliver Rees, player of the season, Reno, signing of the season, biggest disappointment, Cardiff City Football Club. Moment of the season, Turner, the flag bearer. Best Reza-ism of the season, post-match interview versus Sheffield United. Despite this being a season to forget, you lads have kept us going with the pod, having a laugh with Ben in Norwich being a highlight for sure. He was dressed as the 118 man, for anyone who's interested.
Classic.
Lovely tash.
Classic.
Lovely tash on Oliver Rees. James Webber, player of the season, Callum Robinson, without his goals, would have been rock bottom all season. We know who the signing of the season is. Biggest disappointment, relegation. Moment of the season, the South Wales Derby win. Best Reza-ism of the year. And he's gone for a positive one. Turning up for the South Wales Derby after his dad died. Respect. And yet, Ben, the best Reza-ism of the year is just mainly a one last kind of laugh, really, at him. But you have to give him his dues there, don't you? He put in for everything he was going through, he was so focused on that game, and he put in the right performance, didn't he?
Oh, the bollocks on him to turn up and just carry out like he did on TV, the highest pressure game of the season, and to get that performance out of those players. I still think the world of him for that week. That is horrible what he went through with his old man. He was clearly really close to. For all the funniness, and there is a lot of this that is making me laugh and cringe at the same time. I think it would be nice in a few years if that's the main thing he's remembered for, is putting that in, because you want people to give their all for this club. And that week, there's no doubt he gave his all for that club, because that's a stinker. It's one of the worst weeks imaginable. I couldn't imagine doing what he did.
Yeah, I agree. Mart, CCFC development fan, player of the season, Reno. Biggest disappointment, our hierarchy. Moment of the season, watching so many City lads representing Wales under 19s, and the best Reza-ism was ringing fans post Luton. Lee Sanders has gone player and signing Salek. Disappointment, losing McGuinness and the loss of leadership at the back with him going. Moment, that Gutas header. And Reza-ism, calling for fan support, then calling them clueless the next day. Brandon Arthur, player Robinson, disappointment, everything. Moment, Gutas header. Reza-ism, putting spaces between commas on his Insta posts.
Oh, yeah, that really riles me. Sorry, yeah. Glad someone else has said it. Honestly, I didn't want to be that grammar bloke, but it really pisses me off.
But as a UX guy, it's bad, isn't it, Tom?
Yeah. Bugs me.
Jamie Howell says, player of the season, Chambers. Disappointment, relegation. Moment, Matt Turner 3-0. Reza-ism, going for Malaysian barbecue without an invite. Reece Davis, player of the season. Robinson, signing of the season. Biggest disappointment, the board tan for the way they dealt with Reza. Moment of the season, Robbo second versus Jax. His Rezaism was Reza's social media activity. Giggsy, player of the season, O'Dowda. Biggest disappointment, El Ghazi. I was hoping for a lot more. Moment of the season, Gutas header. I threw Gethin in the air. I assume Gethin's your son. Otherwise, sorry, Gethin. Matt Giggsy threw you up in the air. I do know it's his son. Reeves the moment, the hat selfie, wearing all the retro and club gear, and also loved Rousey choosing Insomnia for the walkout music. Player of the season from CCFC Seoul was Callum Robinson. Signing of the season, he's gone Salek / Alex Robertson. Disappointment getting relegated, probably. Moment of the season, South Wales Derby 3-0 win. Messaging fans back on Instagram for his Reezerisms. Sam Kirby, player of the season, Robinson. Biggest disappointment, El Ghazi. Moment of the season, Robinson's first goal against the Scum. Best Reezerism, getting sacked. Simbo Morgs, player of the season, Rinamotta. Biggest disappointment, NG. Moment of the season, Robinson versus Jacks at home. Best Reezerism, his perm. Also, thank you guys for letting us fans go in all season because there hasn't been much else. Ben, we haven't really talked about it, but NG has been a big disappointment this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's just not happened, is it? It's been one of those from a player you need to stand up and be counted. He really let the side down on more than one occasion.
Yeah. What a shithouse. Richard Endicott, player of the season, Rocco Simic in the under-21s. Signing of the season, Salek. Biggest disappointment, my son for the first time refusing to meet the players post-Stoke. Moment of the season, none. Best Reezeism, shop jumper worn versus Bristol. Reece CCFC, someone should get Puscott on their shirt next season. I do know that's spreading because apparently someone at the Norwich game shouted, "Go on, Puscott," about 5 rows down. My mate in front of me, my mate who I went to the Preston game with turned around and said someone shouted Puscott. So with Puscott is sticking. Dan C, player of the season, Andy Rinamotta. Biggest disappointment, Colwell. Best moment of the season, 3-0 win against South Wales Derby. And then best reason is messaging and calling for, fans on Insta to discuss club matters. Jay Mills, player of the season, O'Dowda. Signing of the season, we know. Disappointment, my half-season ticket being next to Die Hunt. Moment of the season, 3-0 against the Jacks. Reezerism, 98765 Cup finals and his dog spot to go. Thanks for the entertainment, lads. Catfish by Kanga. Neath Blues, player of the season, Reno. Biggest disappointment, Salek cutting his hair. Moment of the season, Robbo away goal versus the Jacks. Best Reezerism going after Franco in the derby. Luca Tobin, player of the season, Robinson. Biggest disappointment, Kanga. South Wales Derby for moment, calling the fans clueless. Ironic. CCFC TM. We all know where this is going. Player of the season, Reno. Biggest disappointment, everything that's happened. Moment of the season, Jack's at home. Best Reezeism, the club shop gear / selfies. Luke Coakley says, player of the season, Robinson. Signing, Salek. Disappointment, Bullet getting a new deal. Moment beating the Jacks. Reeza clueless. We're all following the same vein here. Scotty 75, player of the season, O'Dowda. El Ghazi, will it be a disappointment? Reeza being sacked was his moment of the season. Fans are clueless. MJ CCFC, Rinamotta, Salek, Robertson. Final half an hour of the South Wales Derby, travelling of his own accord, uninvited to Malaysia to meet Tan. They're all going in the same vein here. Let's talk about our predictions, Ben. This is the moment you've been waiting for. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian for all your tweets. Ben, this is the time where you can really show us up.
Yeah, so one of us had an absolute stinker. When it comes from predictions to the league, one of us had an absolute mare. Which one do you want to go with? Do you want the scores or do you want should we go over our Twitter, sort of the equivalent of our Twitter predictions?
I don't know. What do I want? Tom, you decide. I want to crawl under a rock and die. But we've got to do the points, do the table first, squad, and then we'll go into our.
Okay.
I'm nervous now. I'm nervous.
Okay. So, start of the season, we put out on Twitter our league predictions. Needless to say, we've not done well. In last place, scoring 149 points. So
explain the scoring.
Right, do this. So scoring is we make a prediction of where people will finish in the league. For every point, for every position above or below that, you score a point. The aim is to score as few points as possible. So if you predict a team to finish first and they finish second, you get a point. If you predict a team to finish third but they finish second, you get a point. it makes sense there. If they finish third and you predict them to finish third, you get nothing. There we go. So, Ben James, our defending champion.
I have a stinker.
141 points.
Class.
Okay.
3 correct predictions. They were Leeds,
Nice, yeah.
Portsmouth, and Preston. Got them spot on. I'll come to me next. 149 points. 2 correct predictions. And my worst score was 18 points for predicting Cardiff to finish 6th. You've got 17 on that, so don't feel too happy.
Yeah, no, I'm just laughing because it's funny.
We'll go to Tom then. So, with 132 points, the new champion is Tom Phillips. He got 2 correct results. They were the top 2, Leeds and Burnley. Somehow still managed to score worse with the 2 highest scores of Blackburn in 7th, predicting Blackburn to finish bottom when they finish 7th.
I stand by it.
And then also predicting Cardiff to finish 5th. Got him 19 points.
Outside of that, all right.
Despite that, very, very strong. It's a lot of 2s, a lot of 1s. So
I was in the middle.
Tom is the new predictions champion.
Fine. That's fine. I did, as long as I didn't finish last.
No, it's for the 3rd year running. I have finished completely rock bottom.
Maybe you should stick away from predictions, Ben. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I think so. And on that, let's go to the predictions that we made at the start of the season.
Less smug about this, I think.
Because, again, I wouldn't be. Let's start with you, Tom. Top goal scorer, Callum Robinson. Biggest disappointment, Ruben Colwill.
Stand by that one, 100%.
Stand not against it. Player of the season, Callum Robinson or Callum Chambers.
Nice.
So you got that right. Callum Robinson did win the player of the season. Youth player of the season. This is probably the worst you made.
Oh, Capaccio, I think.
Capaccio, yeah. Yeah, got Capaccio, and just hasn't happened for him, but fair play. When he came on against Norwich, he was all right. So not exactly the worst.
And then been injured most of the season, isn't he?
Yeah. We also did a niche moment of the season.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah. Tom, yours was Horvath to score an injury time, an equaliser in injury time. Didn't quite happen, that.
No.
Ben, let's go with you next. Top goal scorer, Chris Willock.
Nice.
Close. This one, not so bad. Disappointment, Wilfred Kanga.
Yeah, knew it.
Good.
Knew it'd be bad.
I think very fair, got that right. Player of the season, back to earth with this one, Joe Rawls.
Yeah, well, he hasn't played much, has he?
When he played, he did all right. I can't fault it.
Yeah, didn't do much wrong. So yeah.
No, exactly.
Youth players, you went for Raheem Conte, who wasn't registered at any point for us during the season.
Nope, went out alone.
And to be fair, Cian Ashford as well. You had the drink between the two. You couldn't decide. So yeah, we'll let you off there. Your niche moment. Packer from Perry NG will knock the sombrero off the man at QPR.
Yeah, I think I would like to clarify. I think I said would knock him out as well.
Yeah, or knock the maracas out of his hand. It was also one of the points you made. Yeah,
didn't happen,
which I'm very disappointed about, to be honest.
Yeah.
So let's go with mine. Top goal scorer. Who do you reckon I went with?
I reckon I went with Kanga.
I did go with Kanga. Yes. Disappointment. Christmas. Yeah, performance over Christmas. I think got that spot on. Player of the season, I went with Callum O'Dowda, and I still think he probably should have won it. So I'm doing all right. Youth player, Eli King. Again.
Yeah, good.
Didn't play.
Had a good season at Stevenage.
Yeah, he did well. And then niche moment, I said Bullet admits he buys all his clobber from the market in Turkey. Never happened.
No.
But it does look like Reza bought all his from there.
Wow, the Cardiff City market.
Yeah. So when I said someone had an absolute shocker, the plot twist is it was me.
Yeah, Ben
had a disaster.
Look, with the move to League One, there is obviously the talk of job cuts, budget cuts, and all that kind of stuff. And if we're looking at performance reviews there, me and Tom are probably doing okay. But Ben, I think we're going to have a conversation.
Yeah, I think it's fair. I mean, anyone that predicts Wilfred can get to be top scorer, and that turned up. Yeah, fair.
I think, look, I'll speak to HR. There's plans you could put together, performance improvement plan. If you
Don't put me
don't,
on that.
kind of. Well, it's our only option, I'm afraid. Consider this your warning. So let me just clarify something. I got the most correct predictions in the league because I got 3.
Yeah, that's not that wasn't the win though. That's not the actual game. I know
Well,
what you're going to try and do. You're going to try and
that's
gain
not the
victory.
game.
Yeah.
Sorry, let me just. If you win more gold medals at the Olympics, then you win in the medals table. Feels like predicting 3 out of the top 24 is like winning a gold medal at the Olympics. That's what I'm going to tell myself anyway.
You can tell yourself that if you want, but you also scored 16 points for predicting for your prediction of Blackburn, who you got finishing 23rd. 13 points for Millwall, and Luton scored you 16 as well. So wouldn't feel too smug.
I don't feel smug at all. I have never felt smug in my life. Have you seen me, Ben? I've got nothing to be smug about.
Oh, that's a bit bleak.
Yeah,
it got weird then. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian. You, Ben, find the tweets, retweet it so everyone can see and laugh at our predictions at the end of it. We're coming up to an hour. I don't really want to talk about how wrong the board are going to get it this summer.
No.
Let's have a quick conversation about some of the names that have been mentioned so far, Tom Phillips. They promised a structural review. Don't believe that they're going to do it properly. They've got an agency on board to find a manager, even though the agency have managers, and they've said, it might not be one of our managers. Some of the names that have been mentioned so far linked to the job: Gary O'Neill, Steve Robinson from St Mirren, Carl Robinson, not related, the Scouser. Any of those names tickle your fancy?
Gary O'Neill would be great, but I don't want him to besmirch his loan spell with us that every Cardiff fan says is the best thing that ever happened, and I'm being one of them. Steve Robinson, must admit, I thought he was the Cardiff-based world champion boxer until he said he was at St Mirren, so didn't know much about him. But I think like Gary O'Neill jumps out of that list, really, right? Like he's got Premier League pedigree. He has a certain way of playing football. He has a vision. He's not throwing shit to the wall at 65 minutes and hoping things land like Reza did. I think that would be a great one. I think he'd be the right type of character. I don't think he's going to drop to League One to manage us, personally. I don't think for it, but
well, if the rumors are to be believed, he has expressed an interest in the job. I don't know where those rumors have come from, but I've seen a few people mention it on Twitter. I don't know if it's true or not. Ben, those are the names that have been mentioned. What manager are we going to end up with? Is it Neil Critchley?
I think let's just do it now and give Tom Ramsat the job. Somehow, despite being sacked, still around the club, still managed to play a game at the Cardiff City Stadium this week.
What I was going to say about that is how did he get in the Cardiff City All-Stars team and not the away team when he never played for Cardiff?
How did he get in the Cardiff City All-Stars, but David Marshall, former captain of the club, played for the All-Stars?
And Ben Turner.
I don't understand the concept. I don't think anyone does.
No.
I don't think they've done kit sizes. Whoever fit in the certain kits goes on that team, I reckon.
Yeah, that might be it.
It was just random. The bloke's, he's Teflon. I don't know how he does it, but fair play to him, because absolute blagger of a man, getting away with murder and still there. Fair play to him. But yeah, that's what we're going to end up with, isn't it? It's the fact we've hired an agency. We're crying out, we need change. And they've gone, we'll go agency for this. Yeah. In work, you go agency when you can't be asked to do something. I'm going to an agency in my job because I can't be asked to do SEO and I'm terrible at it.
I could do SEO for you, Ben.
No, you're right.
Just Google it.
Yeah, it's really easy to do SEO. Search engine optimization. Keywords, that's all it is. What I was going to say there is, I don't know what I was going to say. It's been a long season. We're looking ahead to League One, boys. League One next year. Here's a little quiz for you. In the league, when did we last play Bradford?
Oh,
I know this. 2005.
Tom, when did we last play Bradford?
Ben was really confident with 2005, but I'm going to go 2004 just to be different.
Well, Tom, you were right. It was 2004.
Fuck! As soon as I said
January.
it was the wrong season.
2004.
What a pod I'm having. This is
We
great.
won 1-0. And when did we last play Mansfield? Go on, Ben, redeem yourself.
Did we play them in the FA Cup?
This is only in the league. In the
On
league.
the league. Christ, I haven't got a clue when did we last play Mansfield.
They're all around the same sort of time.
2002?
Tom?
If he's saying 2002, I'll go 2001.
2003. You were both wrong.
Oh, I got the wrong way.
When did we last play Lincoln in the league, Ben?
97.
I was going to say
Tom?
97. Funny enough.
Okay, it was 2001.
Fuck you.
We lost that one. When did we last play Leyton Orient in the league, Tom?
2001.
Ben?
2003.
2001. And we drew 1-1. And when did we last play AFC Wimbledon in the league, Ben?
Trick question. We've never played them in the league.
Yeah, technically never. Yeah.
Well done. Someone won that quiz, and that was a laugh.
It was Tom. Tom won that massively. I had another stinker.
That's it. That's the season. That's our season review. Ben, let's get sincere. What was your favourite part of doing the podcast this season?
It's the growth, isn't it? It's gone all right this year. For us, it's gone very well. I mean, like,
a lot of things. Professional outfit.
Yeah, a lot of things sort of came our way. Sort of a bit more TV. Opportunity to do different things. It's all been quite good fun. Did a pilot did something for TalkSport that'll probably never see it because they can't get sponsors. All of that, it's just been quite good for us.
This feels very David Brent. We Cardiff City got relegated, but the good news is the podcast has grown.
It's exactly that.
Tom?
On the pitch, terribly, but the YouTube statistics are looking rather healthy. So, swings and roundabouts.
Tom, as a man who, has to live vicariously through others when it comes to going to games, is that why you still like doing the podcast?
Yeah, it's been nice to chat with friends when I'm so far away, but it's the perfect time to move away from Cardiff City Football Club. I've timed it fucking brilliantly. So I'm pretty happy with that. I feel smug about that. They still had a good go at trying to ruin my wedding day by losing 7-0, but it's fine. But I don't know.
I forgot that was your wedding day.
That was your wedding day, yeah. Christ.
Yeah, my wedding day was Wales losing by 40-odd points to France and, in the rugby and, good stuff. But
wedding was nice, though.
Happiest day of your life. Happiest day of your life.
Apparently so. Why to stay awake at 2 a.m. to watch us lose 7-0?
Yeah.
Odd decision in my wedding suit on my phone, eating cake. But no, it's just lovely chatting about football, even when the football's fucking atrocious and you only win 9 games. And it's just nice to have all the interactions with the fans and stuff as well. And I'm genuinely looking forward to speaking about next season because it's something a bit different as well. But football aside, it's been quite a good season.
It has. Going to games, the amount of people who've been coming up to us and saying they listen to the podcast and enjoy it and interact with us on Twitter and get involved in whichever way they can has been phenomenal this season. I think it always kind of blows me away, really, when I go to games and people recognize us for doing the podcast. And I guess it helps that we're on YouTube now, so people can see our faces. Some people are less complimentary about our faces than others, but it's nice either way. And it's been a long season, but this has been a source of joy, I think, for us, being able to talk about it, and hopefully it's been cathartic for everyone who listens. We're not going to be completely silent over the summer. We'll have a week or so off, but we'll be back. We've got some interviews lined up. We're doing some features on various things. If you keep an eye on our TikTok and our YouTube, there'll be videos there as well. Twitter.com/VFT Ninian. If you're listening via audio, please give us a review via whichever audio platform you listen to. Please go to kofi.com/VFT Ninian. Give us some money there because we do this for the love, not the money. And Ben has very expensive taste in barbecue sauces. And we'll be back over the summer. We're not going away. We'll be back when the club do their next outrageous thing. And we'll speak to you over the summer. See you then. Bye-bye.